Well, hello there guys, welcome back to the channel. It's been about 3,000 miles since we rebuilt this motor, and so far under the car I don't have a single drop of oil, so I think we did a fantastic job. The car has been running great, no overheating, no smoking, no oil contamination, no coolant contamination. And yeah, 3,000 miles in, we're draining this used oil. We're gonna replace it with fresh oil, and then finally guys, after 3,000 miles, we're gonna do a wide open throttle pull. Got the purulator. Let me know if you guys also pre-fill your filters with oil. I'm just curious how many actually do it. The beauty is used oil in the sun, nice and clear, no glitter whatsoever. So you know we assembled it cheap, but we assembled it properly, and everything checks out as far as clearances. Pretty impressive. The oil of choice, again, I know last time we used Valvoline just because we couldn't get any 530. We're back with the 530, the Dexos approved one. Check this oil out on Bob is the Oil Guy, highly recommended. So you guys may actually prefer this one over some other oils that you're using. My two picks are, well, three picks would be Pennzoil, Quaker Steak, and Amsoil, of course. Alright, got the HONDATA. Guys, I have had this put away for some months now, and I'm finally going to start data logging on it again. So I'm going to plug it in, take it for a spin, let the car warm up a little bit, and we're finally going to do some wide open throttle pulls. It's been 4,500 miles since the engine rebuild. The car's still running good. I have not went wide open throttle. At most I probably do like 50% throttle, but we're gonna pull it all the way, see how the engine's holding up, see how everything holds up. We're gonna log it, and we're gonna go over the logs and see how it's doing. All right, got the car driving here. We got HONDATA pulled up. Like always guys, I won't start doing any pulls until my engine coolant temperature is over 180, which is just about to hit. IATs are at 70. And I'm not trying to go too far from home. In the case something would let go, again, we're reusing head studs in the vehicle. We're not supposed to technically reuse head studs. We're reusing the rod bolt studs. All those parts are torque to yield bolts, which should be replaced every time you're essentially taking those bolts out. So those things stretch, dimensions and clearances can increase, and they can let go, and you got a problem. But I don't think that's going to be the case running it stock. Definitely recommend replacing them with new parts, especially if you're returning to getting boosted again, because more stress on the engine with the boost, and boost is going to try to lift the head a little bit more, and there's just more stress on all the parts. So get back to you guys here with some pulls. All right, we're just about ready, boys. Wide open throttle. Okay, very good. Actually feels really good. Wow. Holy shit. I forgot how fast this car was naturally aspirated, boys. God damn. I swear to God, I'm not even exaggerating. This thing moves. Man, I have not been driving wide open throttle for what, 6 months? That was quick, boys. What the hell? And I'm gonna take a look at the log, but when I glanced at it, we had around 12.5 air fuel ratio, which is just on point. Pretty smooth throughout the whole power band. No knocking, no issues. I'm gonna do a few more pulls like this, and hopefully we get the same results. Dang, I'm impressed. All right, for this one, I'm just gonna leave it in D3. We got no knock counts on the last run. I'm gonna start data logging this again. I don't know why it's cutting off my data logs, but we're just gonna punch it on D3. Nice smooth shift. Who needs a turbo? Who needs a turbo? That was a nice smooth pull. We had about 75 on that. I think the car is really liking the temperature, 68 degrees. We're gonna do another pull right here. Why not? Wide open throttle. Totally forgot to shift. I didn't realize I was on D1, but promising, guys. Very promising. We'll do some pulls on the way back home, and I'll catch up with you guys in the studio, and we'll talk about these logs. Okay guys, we got HONDATA pulled up here. This is the first log that I did wide open throttle since March 2022. So you do the math, that's how long I haven't opened her up. And just going down through the graph here, as we get into pedal to the metal here, we're seeing our air fuel ratio right around 13, even though the factory target is around 12.46. But it's looking good. I know it runs a little bit richer. That's actually good for us. It's giving us a little bit of extra power benefit, running leaner a little bit to some extent. And then once we get towards 6,000 RPM, we see the air fuel ratios finally start to richen up. As you can see right over here, we got a nice enrichment coming in all the way down to about 12.08. So that's not bad. And also one thing you notice is the factory 185cc injectors. We're already at 86% duty cycle, which really means these factory injectors are no good for any kind of modifications. Essentially an intake and exhaust, and making the car run a little richer, you're maxing out your duty cycle on these factory injectors. So definitely if you plan to modify your car, do not run any bigger modifications with a factory set of injectors. And we hit it to second gear. Second gear is looking pretty good also. 13 AFR, and then over 6K we get our enrichment here, just about 12.13. So that looks pretty good. The duty cycle looks just how it used to look for OEM spec. And I'm looking at my map sensor here, this reading over here, and at wide open throttle, it's pretty consistent. That means we got pretty good pressure through the cylinders and vacuum. One thing I'm gonna see if I can show you guys here. You guys, here are the map tables. Not that I am running on a map tune. I'm using a mass airflow sensor tune, naturally aspirated. But you can see the wide open throttle tables are right over here with negative 1.6 inches of vacuum. So I'm essentially running pretty good vacuum and compression. So I'm hoping that that cylinder one is doing good, because if it wasn't holding up, if there was a lot of blow by, I would assume this reading may be a little different. The next thing I'm looking at is all the ignition retard, K retard over here, and there's plenty of ignition retard during this wide open throttle pull. One, because I'm using regular octane gasoline since March, since I blew the motor and I rebuilt it, nothing but regular gasoline. And also, the factory tune is very, very conservative with high sensitivity of the knock sensor. So the knock sensor picks up so much noise. It may be knock, it's probably not knock in a factory setting, but it retards the ignition timing. And at first I was a little concerned about this ignition timing. I mean, 8 degrees of retard here and there. But I did compare it to a log I did when I had my car stock before I went turbo, and it looks exactly the same. So I did another log here. Let's pull this one up. And same thing, first gear pull, we're peaking at around, what, 1330 air fuel ratio, which is a little bit higher than target of 12.89, which is still fine. And we got 82% duty cycle. We're gonna go into second gear. Same concept. Enrichment happens after 6K at wide open throttle. And again, the map sensor looks the same, and we still got the ignition retard right over here. And our last run, which I bounced off the rev limiter like a madman, we got pretty much the same concept. 86 duty cycle, second gear 82% duty cycle. We still got the ignition retard. The good thing is, between all these runs, if you look at my K count, there's no knocking detected, right? The first run, the second run, there's no knock, and the third run, there's no knock. However, my K control is elevated, and the K control is elevated because, again, I think these knock sensitivity tables are factory, right? So they pick up too much sensitivity. And essentially, let me show you real quick where they are. Knock control. Yeah, knock sensitivity. The low and high. Essentially, you would have to adjust these tables accordingly to reduce some of that sensitivity of the knock sensor for it not to pull the ignition timing, and that way the 9 degrees it's taken away, you can get back into the vehicle. So 9 degrees, we can advance the timing with proper air fuel ratio and a proper fuel grade, such as 93 octane might be able to handle it with no knock, and then we gain that power difference. But overall guys, the car looks and sounds pretty good. Can't complain. We didn't blow the motor the first time we accelerated, which is a blessing. The car feels pretty good, and hopefully I'm having similar results here with good data to back everything up and no engine noise to follow. Well, thank you guys. If you stuck around to the end of the video, I hope you guys learned something. The R18 Civic is doing pretty good after all it's been through. So I appreciate you guys. Stay tuned for the next video, and don't forget to check me out on Instagram as well at Bullet Kid. I got a lot of content coming out there that YouTube sees probably delayed, or maybe you guys don't even see it at all, just because it's way easier to post on IG. But I'll catch you guys on the next video. Peace.